Welcome back, everybody. It's Sport Federation TV. Nice to have you along. And of course, as you know, we keep taking a look at sport in the Western Cape. And of course, as you also know, there's lots of excitement in the world of sport at the moment. Tremendous amount of excitement. It gets better and better every week. Of course, one of the big announcements recently has been that sports structures and events and federations are allowed to have spectators back at their events, which is really good news. But also, in the process, we are seeing more sports structures holding their inter-district championships, inter-provincial championships, club championships, and so the sport is really back. One of the sports we've been focusing on for a long time, and of course has been very active in Cape Town, the Western Cape, and South Africa, and is an Olympic sport, is of course climbing. Chris Naude is back on the line with me. Chris, nice to have you back. How are things there?
Hi JP, good to be back on the show, and it's great to be chatting to people in an era where we can start doing things again.
Absolutely. Chris, you guys have, of course, behind the scenes had to do still a lot of planning, even though, I suppose even more so now that you're allowed to have spectators, and that the athletes or the Olympics have finished. You're heading towards the end of the year. You're starting to think already of next year. A lot of planning going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. We've battled to keep to get all the competitions that we need to have done in the last half of the year. That has been a bit of a challenge. But I think everyone's stepped up to the plate, and we managed to get some good admin done in the meantime. But we've now got our junior championships and some senior championships and the African championships all coming up before the end of the year, in place for a national championships early next year because of the timing of everything. And of course, that's all going to be leading up to the World Games, which we're also going to be taking part in June next year. So July next year.
Just give us a quick idea here so we can kind of put the puzzle together. When you're talking about junior athletes, what age groups are we talking about?
So our junior championships, which is actually happening tomorrow at City Rock in Cape Town, is from under 7 until under 13. So the Lidleys. But it's great to see them climbing, and some of them are really crushing now. They're doing so well, and we're really impressed with the standard. I think climbing managed to continue reasonably smoothly through the COVID period, because a lot of the climbing is done outdoors, which helped a lot. So it's been awesome.
And these juniors, when they compete now this coming weekend at City Rock here in Cape Town, are they? Do these points count? Is it a point system that if they do well, it goes on to a ranking of sort?
Well, we've actually just managed to get a ranking system, if you like, up and running. Previously, we used to use a single competition as the ranking mostly, but we've now implemented a ranking system which relies on the weighting of different competitions. So a competition with a lot of ranked climbers will give you more points than a competition with fewer ranked climbers, and that's been quite a challenge to get up and running. It's still in a little bit of an experimental stage, so we're still tweaking it, but we're working with Gauteng province on that one, and it's been great. It's working pretty well at the moment.
Have you got athletes from around the country coming down to compete in the championship?
Yeah, it's not a lot at the moment. So we've got 4 athletes coming down from Gauteng and one from the Eastern Cape. So it's looking, it'll build up. It's not something they're familiar with. They're not used to having to travel for competitions. But there's a lot of enthusiasm for the idea at the moment. Exam time doesn't help. Ideally, we wouldn't have had it at exam time now, but of course, with everything being squashed into the last half of the year, we didn't have too much choice on some of these things.
So we're certainly going to be going head to head then, Western Cape against Gauteng, against Eastern Cape. Do we have a couple of athletes here that you are predicting might walk away with the gold?
Oh, absolutely. So there are a couple of different age groups, but we're hoping it'll all be Western Cape climbers on the podium. You know, I mean,
yeah, obviously.
That's our aim, but we'll see. There's some strong climbers from the rest of the country as well. So we'll see. We've got one young climber, Nick Allen, who's done absolutely amazingly well over the COVID period. He's been training really hard and would probably make the podium although he's only 14, would probably make the podium in senior competitions.
You mentioned the World Games earlier on.
Yes.
Just give us a little bit more information about that. When is that, and who gets to participate?
Yeah, so the World Games it includes climbing in the three different disciplines. So it will include speed climbing, bouldering, and lead climbing as separate disciplines. That's different to the way the Olympic Games worked. So potentially three males and three females from South Africa could be traveling to the US. It's in Birmingham, US, in July next year.
So
So
you
it's
did
not
the
these.
Africa Continental Championships last year, December. You got another one again this year, then?
That's correct. Yeah, that'll be in Johannesburg.
Right.
So they've split it up across a couple of gyms in Johannesburg. It's
Yeah.
a slightly smaller event in that it's the Olympic Games. Obviously, got a lot of excitement going. So we had a slightly bigger event here. But still, it's an important event, and
Yeah.
we are seeing with some of the travel opening up, we're seeing more athletes from the rest of Africa starting to take an interest in these competitions.
Chris, of course, in addition to the competition itself, the athletes competing, climbing has really become a spectator sport. I mean, it's getting a lot of TV coverage, video coverage, online broadcasting, live streaming, and so on. Are you expecting a few spectators to come to City Rock this weekend?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I think it was surprising to me that I always thought, I'm not sure about whether climbing is really a great TV sport, but a lot of people who didn't know about climbing now know about climbing because of the Olympic Games. They watched the climbing going on and found it actually quite. It was, I think, the second most popular sport being watched on at the Olympic Games.
Wow.
So it was really, it got a lot of coverage. But I think a lot of it was just curiosity. What is this climbing stuff? But still, it's given us a lot of visibility, and it's shown in our membership. Our membership has increased by 64% this year, and a lot of schools are starting to talk to us about how do we start a school team and all of that sort of stuff. So it's all looking very positive at the moment.
Is it the kind of thing that schools can do? Put up a climbing
Absolutely.
wall, for example, at a school?
Absolutely. It's look, it always takes money, but it's not a particularly expensive bit of infrastructure to put in, and it's got a relatively small footprint. But a lot of sports have a bigger footprint than that. So it doesn't take up too much
Well, it's
space,
got no footprint. I
and
mean, it's
it's
on
a
a
great
wall. It's
sport.
upright.
Everybody can participate. Yeah, it's vertical.
If there are people watching right now and they want to come to watch at City Rock, are they able to do that? And also for fans who maybe want to join climbing, is it as simple as going to your website?
Absolutely. Go to the website. It's westerncapeclimbing.co.za, but we welcome them tomorrow. I will be there, and as will a lot of my colleagues. And we will have a banner up there with somebody sitting there to answer questions if you have any questions about climbing or how you get into it and so on. And we welcome anybody who would like to participate or even just try it out.
Chris, and of course, COVID regulations in place. We assume that any spectator arrives needs to show that they are vaccinated.
Yeah. Adult spectators, yes. The kids, obviously, they're not being vaccinated yet, but the adult spectators should be vaccinated. That's legislated in a government gazette, so we don't have too much choice on that. But it's a wise move, so I'm not particularly against it.
Chris, we leave it at that. Good luck for this coming weekend. We know that we're going to have a lot of medals, Western Cape medals on the podium. And we look forward to follow the progress of athletes such as Nick Allen and the other young championships coming through the ranks.
Thank you very much, JP. It's been great chatting to you again.
There we go, folks. Chris Naude, Western Cape Climbing. They've got the junior provincials then this coming weekend at City Rock in Cape Town. And then, of course, if you want to join up, if you want to find out a little bit more about climbing, you want to find out how to join a club, then just go and visit their website, www.westerncapeclimbing.co.za. We'll take a break. When we come back, we carry on taking a look at sport in the province. Back in a sec.